Crash and Burn, a series where I discuss the reasons as to why some movies and shows were not well received by the audiences who saw them. Today we have a real doozy because we are talking about Cats. So first, let's give some background. Cats is a musical made by Andrew Lloyd Webber, which was inspired by a book of short poems written by T.S. Eliot in 1939. Webber was simply so enamored with the book that he took the cast of various cats mentioned within the poems and made an entire play about them. It premiered in London's West End in 1981 and came to Broadway a year later. A direct-to-video filming of the stage play was released in 1998, with a handful of the original cast members reprising their roles, namely Ellen Page reprising her role as Grisabella. Webber treated this filming as a chance to enhance the show in a way that only film can. The close-up shots allowed the audience for the first time to truly see the expressions of the cast, so it wasn't just impressive singing and dancing that carried the show, it was also acting. You were able to see the minor expressions that added new layers to the show and gave it more depth. So ideally, the 2019 adaptation of this play would do the same, right? It would mix impressive dancing, stunning vocal performances, and superb acting to tell a fun and heartwarming story of these cats' lives. It would be a spectacle, but one with enough substance to leave an impression on you. And the movie does not do that. Jesus Christ. I'm sure you've already heard the big complaints from every other reviewer who has seen this monstrosity. The CGI is poorly rendered, the humor doesn't land, it has little to no substance, this movie feels like furry bait. All of these criticisms are valid, aside from the furry bait one. I'm serious when I say so many people have outed themselves as furries just so they can assure people that this movie does not appeal to them in any way. You know something is wrong with a movie when an entire community known for its unique fascination with anthropomorphic characters is basically shouting that this movie isn't for them and they have no interest in it. What I want to focus on is how lackluster the film is. I grew up watching the 1998 film, so I was already going into this movie with a preconceived notion of what was going to happen and what I would see. I just thought I was gonna get a poor man's rendition of Cats. Boy, was I wrong, because it was worse! Firstly, I want to touch on the audio mixing in this movie because it sounds like they started re-editing this audio at the last minute. The singers in this film are constantly being drowned out by the music that accompanies them, or they're singing too softly for the audience to hear, or it sounds like the first take that was going to be replaced with a more polished version in post. It feels like this movie was aiming for a Les Mis style of singing, where there's no auto-tune, but the acting is supposed to carry the performance. Which leads into my next complaint: no one in this movie can act. Some of these actors are horribly miscasted, while others can't seem to emote because if they do, they risk going into the uncanny valley. When the camera does get close to the actors, they are either emotionless or some aspect of their face just looks wrong. So we're left with a product that wants to copy the choices made by Les Mis, but can't deliver on that because the audio is hastily cobbled together, which means the actors are drowned out by the orchestra, and no one can act because the CGI is hindering their ability to do so. I know for a fact that Judi Dench is a good actor, but she isn't able to show any emotion in this film because the CGI doesn't enhance the experience, it restricts it. Taylor Swift is miscast because she can't sing loud enough for her voice to make any impact on the audience, and it becomes unintentionally hilarious when she's trying to act sexy. And while I know Jennifer Hudson is a damn good singer, she is far too young for this role. Grisabella is supposed to be an old cat, world-worn and tired in her old age, no longer as spry as she once was. Jennifer Hudson is trying her best to deliver a good performance, but she's 38 and there's no effort to make her look older. And oddly enough, the problem is inversely true with Ian McKellen. He's the right age, but he can't play a feeble old cat. The way he presents his character is already too energetic, and while he is trying to act feeble, it doesn't come through all that well. Like, come on, dude. I've seen you play Gandalf in both the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit series, Dumbledore in Harry Potter, and Magneto in X-Men. It's a bit of a stretch to go from a role where you're an old badass worthy of respect to a feeble theater cat. I'm sure with the right movie and right director, Ian McKellen could truly appear feeble, but not today, my friends. I get that the studio probably just wanted another big name actor, but Ian McKellen was not the right choice to play Gus. But that decision is also the root of the biggest problem presented in this film, and is also my final complaint. This movie is the pinnacle of style over substance, but if it isn't mesmerizing you with its weird visuals, confusing you with its breakneck speed of a plot, or simply disturbing you, it's boring. Your interest in this film will live and die on whether you're being distracted by another musical number or dance scene. The final scene where Judi Dench is staring down the barrel of the camera right into my soul is boring because nothing is happening. It's just an old lady in a cat suit telling me how to treat my pet. Much appreciated, but not really needed. There is actually a lot more wrong with this movie, but those issues either don't contain enough substance to be talked about at length, or I have no idea how to incorporate them into this script properly. So here's a list of nitpicks. Go! Number 1. Why is almost all the actors in this film American? The setting of the play was changed from a random junkyard to the streets of London. All the actors use British slang or make jokes that involve British terminology, like puss in spats. So why not get a British cast for the film? Did they all say no? Actually, how did you get Ian McKellen and Judi Dench to say yes? That's the story we all want here. How did you get them to say yes? Number 2, what's the logic behind the clothes that the cats wear? Like, some cats wear fur coats, I guess to imply that the cats have poofy fur, while others wear full-on human clothes like sneakers, high heels, pants, a train conductor hat, and tap shoes. Number 3, Judi Dench is wearing her wedding ring in the final scene. I don't know how it happened, but somehow she got on set with the ring still on her finger, and no one noticed until the movie was released. And you admitted the mistake. Seriously, you could have just as easily played it off as, well, it's Deuteronomy, and in the original play, they even hint at the fact that Deuteronomy originally had 99 wives, so bleh. Number 4, what the hell is going on with McCavity? Seriously. This is a 3-part question. I need to know what the hell is going on. 4A, why does he seem so interested in Victoria at the beginning of the film? This doesn't tie into anything that happens later. He doesn't even seem to be interested with her later in the film. He doesn't try to kidnap her. What's the point of introducing him so early into the movie? Is it because it's Idris Elba? You wanted to get your money's worth? I just want to know. 4B, why does he have magic? And why does it stop working at the end? Seriously, we have a magic cat. He can still use his magic. What the hell? What's going on? 4C, is McCavity a pimp? Because he's surrounded by a lot of female cats, he's dressed like a pimp for most of the film, and Grisabella did at one point go with McCavity, which links up with an old theory regarding Grisabella as to why she was ostracized by the Jellicle cats. It's just, I would like some clarification with this. I want to know. So I guess the basic question before we finish anything up on this is there anything genuinely good in this film? Surprisingly, yes, there's actually one scene. I'm not joking. There is actually one scene in this film that is genuinely good, and it's the introduction of a new song. It's called Beautiful Ghosts. It was written by Andrew Lloyd Webber and Taylor Swift. It's a soft song, sung by Victoria in response to hearing Memory for the first time. She sings about how she's never been wanted and how she's finally found a group that has welcomed her in with open arms, or paws, I guess. She's essentially telling Grisabella that there are those who have had worse lives. There are some who have never had memories to look back on and smile. It's a nice piece, it's calming, and it's able to hold my attention. But it's not enough to save the film, and it isn't extraordinary enough to see this movie solely for that reason. It's an okay song that stands out in comparison because so many of the performances in this movie are lackluster. It's a C+, B- kind of song that would shine a lot brighter if it was either sung by a more talented actress or was a part of a better movie. So let's wrap this up. Don't see this movie unless you plan to go with friends and make fun of it, but even then, there are better movies to watch. It has little to no substance. If you're a theater nerd, you're gonna leave disappointed. If you're a musical fan, there are better renditions of Cats to watch. And if you're an average moviegoer, the best that this movie can offer you is a few unintentional laughs and just a lot of mental scarring. This is a film that is better avoided and will, in fact, be quickly forgotten. I'm Scarlett, and Well, I can say this. I'm looking forward to In the Heights. Who's with me?